Hey everyone, Justin from Adventures Away, and welcome back to Cruise University. If you watched episode 1, we talked about choosing the right cruise line. In episode 2, we covered how to pick the right ship, and why your first cruise should probably be a shorter 3 to 5 days sailing. Now that you've chosen your cruise line, and have an idea of what ship you want to sail on, it's time to make one of the biggest decisions you'll make during the booking process: choosing your cabin. The room you book can completely change your cruise experience. And while we've already done a full, in-depth video comparing every cabin category, this episode is going to focus on helping you decide which cabin is actually right for your vacation. If you want a much deeper breakdown with real examples and pricing, be sure to check out that dedicated cabin comparison video after this one. When most people start booking a cruise, the first thing they notice is that the price can change dramatically depending on the room they select. You may see an interior room that's several $100s cheaper than a balcony, while suites can sometimes cost several times more than a standard stateroom. The important thing to remember is that there isn't one best cabin for everyone. The perfect cabin depends on your budget, your travel style, your itinerary, and how much time you actually plan on spending in your room. Many first-time cruisers assume they'll spend hours relaxing in their cabin, but once you're on board, you quickly realize there's so much happening around the ship that your cabin often becomes nothing more than a place to sleep and get ready for dinner. On the other hand, if you're cruising somewhere with incredible scenery like Alaska or Norway, your cabin suddenly becomes part of the destination itself. That's why thinking about your itinerary first is so important. Let's start with the most affordable option, the interior cabin. Interior rooms don't have a window or balcony, and for some people, that immediately sounds like a deal breaker. But honestly, interior cabins make a lot more sense than many people realize. They're usually the least expensive cabins on the ship, allowing you to spend more money on specialty dining, excursions, drink packages, or even booking another cruise sooner. If you're someone who plans to be out by the pool all day, watching shows at night, and only returning to your room to shower and sleep, an interior cabin may be all you need. One unexpected advantage is that these rooms get incredibly dark, making them fantastic if you're someone who enjoys sleeping in or taking afternoon naps after a busy day in port. Of course, there are trade-offs. Without any natural light, it can sometimes be difficult to tell whether it's 7 in the morning or 7 at night. Some people also find interior cabins feel smaller than they actually are simply because there isn't a window. If you're someone who enjoys waking up and immediately seeing the ocean, this probably isn't the room for you. But if your goal is simply getting the best value possible, interior cabins are tough to beat. The next step up is an ocean view cabin. These rooms include a window or porthole but don't have a private balcony. Ocean view cabins are often overlooked because many people jump straight from interiors to balconies, but they can actually be a great compromise. You still get natural light, you can watch the ship pull into port every morning, and you don't have to spend as much money as you would for a balcony. If you're someone who enjoys having daylight in your room but doesn't think you'll spend much time sitting outside, an ocean view cabin can make a lot of sense. It's also a great option for families trying to stay within a budget, while still making the room feel a little more open. Now we get to what I think is the sweet spot for many cruisers: the balcony cabin. If you've watched our dedicated cabin video before, you probably know I'm a big fan of balconies. There's just something special about opening your own door in the morning, sitting outside with a cup of coffee, and watching the ocean go by. It's also one of the best places on board to unwind after a busy day ashore. Instead of fighting for a lounge chair by the pool, you have your own private outdoor space. If you're celebrating an anniversary, honeymoon, birthday, or simply want a little more peace and quiet, a balcony cabin can absolutely be worth the extra money. Many experienced cruisers consider balconies the best overall value because they strike a great balance between price, comfort, and experience. That said, not every cruise requires a balcony. If you're taking a quick weekend cruise to the Bahamas where you'll spend most of your time on the pool deck or exploring ports, you may not get enough use out of that balcony to justify the additional cost. On the other hand, cruises through Alaska, New England, and Canada during the fall, the Norwegian fjords, or even a Panama Canal sailing can make balconies much more worthwhile because so much of the experience happens while you're sailing. Being able to watch glaciers, wildlife, or incredible coastlines from your own private balcony is something many cruisers never forget. Finally, let's talk about suites. Suites are the largest and most luxurious accommodations on board, but they're much more than just bigger rooms. Depending on the cruise line, booking a suite can unlock exclusive restaurants, private lounges, concierge service, priority boarding, reserved seating for entertainment, private sun decks, and other perks that make your vacation feel completely different from a standard cruise. Some cruise lines even have entire ship-within-a-ship concepts. where suite guests enjoy their own exclusive areas while still having access to everything else on board. Suites are incredible, but they're also expensive. If you're taking your first cruise, I generally don't recommend starting with a suite unless it's comfortably within your budget. I'd rather see someone take 2 cruises in a balcony cabin than 1 cruise in a suite if the experiences are otherwise similar. Beyond choosing the cabin category, where your cabin is located also matters. Generally speaking, cabins located midship and on lower or middle decks experience less motion, making them great choices for anyone worried about seasickness. You'll also want to pay attention to what's above and below your cabin. A room directly underneath the pool deck or nightclub could mean hearing chairs being moved early in the morning, or music late into the night. One tip many experienced cruisers follow is what's often called the sandwich rule. Try to choose a cabin with other passenger cabins directly above and below yours. That usually gives you the best chance at having a quieter room throughout the cruise. Another thing you'll probably notice while booking is something called a guarantee cabin. These are usually offered at a lower price, but instead of choosing your exact room, the cruise line assigns one for you closer to sailing. Sometimes you get upgraded, but other times you may end up in a location you wouldn't have chosen yourself. If saving money is your top priority, a guarantee cabin can be a good option. But if having a quiet room or a specific location is important to you, spending a little extra to select your own cabin is often money well spent. So, if you're still wondering which cabin I'd recommend, here's my simple advice. If you're trying cruising for the first time and staying on a budget, book an interior cabin. If you want natural light without spending a lot more, go with an ocean view. If your budget allows it, and you think you'll enjoy relaxing in your own private outdoor space, a balcony is probably the best overall choice. And if you're celebrating a special occasion or simply want the most luxurious experience possible, then a suite can be absolutely incredible. That wraps up episode 3 of Cruise University. So far, we've covered choosing the right cruise line, choosing the right ship, and now choosing the perfect cabin. In episode 4, we'll talk about the food and drink packages you can purchase before you ever step on board. We'll cover whether drink packages are actually worth the money, specialty dining packages, internet packages, photo packages, and other pre-cruise add-ons, so you know what's worth buying and what you can probably skip. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Adventures Away, and let me know down in the comments what cabin category you usually book, or if you're taking your very first cruise, which cabin you're leaning toward. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.